It's story time, it's story time. Sit ye down, it's story time. Remember, dear children, last time I spoke to you, I told you about a little boy whom the king took away from his mummy and his daddy when he was still very, very small, and put him in a box and floated him down a river. Well, luckily, that little box was found by a miller, and he gave the box and its treasure to his wife. She raised him. She was so happy to have a baby in the family again. And then the king, when that boy was 14 years old, became a little bit suspicious. And so he asked himself what he should do. He decided that he would go around the town in an undisguised form with his royal robes on and issue a decree if he found that boy. I'm going to see if I can find him for you. There he is. And who's in the background? But that young boy. He immediately went to that young boy and he said to that young boy, "You are now going to take a message to the queen for me." "I'll happily do that," said the young boy. He loved adventures. So he took the letter, not knowing what its contents was, popped it in his pocket and ran as fast as he could. Well, night time came and he was tired. And so he decided to rest in a cave in the forest. I'll show you that cave. There, dark and gloomy. He went inside the cave, and right in the cave was an old woman. And she said to him, "My boy, best you don't stay here. This belongs to a band of robbers." "I'm so very tired," he said. "I won't be disturbing anyone." He lay down and fell fast asleep. Well, the robbers came home. They saw the young man there, and they decided to play a trick on him. They pulled his jacket from under his head, and then a note fell out. They tried to read that note. They didn't quite understand what it meant, but where it said, "When this bearer of this letter arrives at the palace, you are immediately to do away with him." And they changed "do away with him" to "marry." And then they tried to spell princess. They got it wrong. Robbers don't really read and write much, and they don't practice their reading and writing either. And so they popped the letter back and put the jacket next to him, and then they fell fast asleep. Well, the next morning the young boy ran his very, very fastest, and he got to the palace. And who did he see very first? The first person he saw, it wasn't the guard, it wasn't the queen, it wasn't the gardeners. I'll show you who it was. Let's look. Can you see? Can you see who that is? Well, it was the princess. He fell in love with her straight away. She was so beautiful. Well, of course, the next thing that happened was the queen got the letter. She obeyed instructions. And the very next day, the young man and the princess were married. Let's see if we can find them. There they are, happily married. Well, of course, the king came home, and there he saw that the young man and his princess were married. He was furious. And do you know what he said? He said, "I'm going to tell you something. You are not going to get away with this lightly. You are going to rush through the land, and you're going to do something for me. And if you're worthy of it, doing those 3 things, I will consider you staying married to my daughter." And these are the things that this king told him to do. He said to the young man, "You're to go to the devil, and you are to take 3 golden hairs from his head." "Well, I'll do that," said the young man. You see, he loved that princess very, very much, and he was going to obey instructions himself. And so he did. He ran all through the land, and first he came to a town, and there he was given a problem about a well, and the fact that this well wasn't working. Can I show it to you? There it is. It used to give the sweetest water, and now it's giving nothing at all, said the dwellers of that town. I'll solve your problem. Please let me rush to what I have to do first. And they agreed. Eventually he came to another town, and in that town there was another problem. And this problem had to do with an apple tree. The apple tree used to bear sweet, sweet fruit, but it wasn't doing that any longer. The people were becoming quite hungry. I'll show you the apple tree. Oh, wait, there it is. Can you see? He said, I'll take this problem and I'll see what I can do with it. He ran through that town and he eventually got to a river. He knew he had to cross this river. And there was the ferryman in his boat, waiting for the young boy. I'll ferry you across the river. Of course I'll ferry you across the river. But I have to tell you that it's only because I can see a golden light all around you. All those who don't have golden hearts are so heavy in my little boat. It's not really possible. So quickly they went across, and then the little boy arrived at his destination. It was a dark and gloomy place, but it was the perfectly right spot. Can you see? There sat the devil, on the lap of his grandmother. He was fast asleep. The young boy knew that it was the devil because he could see those 3 golden hairs. Let's see if we can find them. Hope you saw them. Well, the grandmother said, my dear boy, I certainly cannot pluck 3 golden hairs out of my grandson's head. He will do awful things to both you and to me. No, said the young boy. We have to devise a plan. I have to have those 3 golden hairs. I just have to have them. And so the grandmother said, right. She turned the young man into a little ant. She tucked him in the folds of her skirt. And then she thought of what she should do. Well, the devil was snoring like this. And as soon as he was snoring very, very loudly, she quickly plucked hair from his head. Well, of course he woke up and said, what? And she said, oh, I just had this terrible dream. I dreamt that in a village nearby there was an apple tree, and the apple tree was bearing no fruit. The devil said, well, silly human beings, don't they understand that there's a rat-like creature gnawing at the roots? And if that gnawing creature can be stopped, well, put in his rightful place, all will be well. The tree will bloom with beautiful apples. He went back to sleep again, and when he was snoring a second time, she again pulled a hair out of his head. This time he really was quite angry. And she said, please don't, it was a terrible dream I had. I dreamt this dream that, now what was it again? She said to herself, I dreamt this dream that there was a well in a village, and this well used to give beautifully sweet water, and now it was giving absolutely nothing. Ah, said the devil, stupid human beings sometimes, you know. If they would just know that there's a great big toad, I'll show you him. Look. Oh, big toad, sitting by that well. Just to take him to a place that he belongs to, and all will be well. He went to sleep again, and then something happened. The grandmother heard him snoring his very loudest. And when he was snoring his very, very loudest, the biggest, so can you make a snoring very loudly? Yes, a real big snore, just like that. She plucked the 3rd hair from his head. Well, this time he got up and she said, please don't be angry. I dreamt another dream. I think it's going to be the last dream, but it was about a ferryman who was really struggling because he said he had to carry everybody across the river, but some were light and some were terribly, terribly heavy, and he was scared for his life. Oh, said the devil, those human beings, just carry the ones with the golden heart across and all will be well. Off they went back to sleep again. The boy changed himself, or let's put it this way, the grandmother changed him her little boy again, or a big boy, and he ran his fastest all the way to the king. On the way, he picked up a bag of gold, because he thought he'd give it as a gift to the king, and off they went. Eventually, he got back, and there he saw his princess, who was so delighted. When the king saw him, the king was in no way interested in anything but the gold. And he said, "Where did you get that gold from?" And the young man said, and he explained where he got the gold from. He said, "Well, it's on the other side of the river." So the king took all his donkeys that he could possibly find in the land and travelled as fast as he could to the other side of the river. And when he got to the other side, all was well. But then he gathered so much gold on his donkey's back, and he tried to put them in the boat of the ferryman. Well, dear children, if you try and put all of that in to the boat of the ferryman, well, something untoward is going to happen. And I have to tell you, children, that was the last time that the king was ever seen, or the bags of gold. But one thing is for sure, that the young man and his princess are living happily in their kingdom, and so it is to this very day.